Yeah, hey, boys and girls, and everybody else. It's been a while since we've done this show right now. Boy, it has been probably, I would say, since early August. Sorry about that. Jamie, you haven't been on for even longer than that. What was
Yeah,
the last time you were on?
you know what? I cannot remember, so that means too long.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I think I had Rudy on, and then Marshall has been busy. He's got that work for the government and that kind of stuff. So it's he's been a little bit busy. But so we have a lot to talk about. A lot of things have happened in the last month and a half in the worlds of miles and points and travel. And I think we're going to start with Delta Airlines and my Sky Miles. It hasn't been the most robust loyalty program for a very long time already, mostly because of, and that's why, Gary Left coined the phrase, or he coined the word Sky Pesos for the value of the points. I will say I fly Delta every once in a while, but as you know, I'm a free agent since 2016. I really don't collect status anymore like I used to, meaning that I'm okay with various. Lifetime statuses I have and whatever trickles in and whatever each year looks like. But living without it is kind of fine. And Delta, for me, has been very generous. Just checked, and I've had 11 flights with Delta so far this year. And all of those flights, I've gotten an upgrade from $49 to $199 to buy first class, flat out buy it and upgrade on it. And Melinda and I flew to Seattle. From LA, Minneapolis, see Rudy, Salt Lake City, Boston, whatnot, and all that stuff. And it's so I just buy the cheapest fare, and then they always give me the chance to upgrade. So that's kind of the approach I have. The Sky Miles, every once in a while I use it, and you can also transfer from American Express. Do you do any Delta stuff?
Occasionally, when I was up doing Boston, we did Orlando, and I think it was like $270 in first one way, which is quite reasonable. So yeah, depending on the nonstops.
Yeah, from here to LA to just flat out buy it is $139 is how much it costs. You just buy the ticket. So and then you got you guys hat in hand standing there waiting for their upgrades. And so what happened with Delta? Well, they decided to make some changes, and kind of the changes in and of itself. And a lot of people have kind of been saying, "Oh, they're going to revenue based." There's a friend of mine that used to work for Delta. That was kind of a misunderstanding a little bit what the changes here were about. But in reality, it was kind of an answer to Americans' changes about a year and a half, 2 years ago, right?
Yep. I think Americans' changes, actually, American does not tend to do things well, but I think Americans' changes were kind of spot on, right? They were sort of an innovator in the space. I think it's pretty straightforward how you need to earn status. There's a number, you got to reach it. But with Delta, I don't know. I think it just sort of, maybe they didn't want to seem like they were copying American. I'm not really sure, but I think they instead of American taking this point system, Delta took just the straight dollar amount.
Right.
It's extreme, as everyone has said, but I think American system is very simplified. And in many cases, there's a lot of multipliers, whether it's if you have status. So with American system, once you have, for example, EP, it's much easier to earn it the following year because you're earning more miles towards that 200,000. With Delta, right, telling you kind of you got to get the $35,000 no matter what. So Delta took a different approach. I don't agree with it. I think it's an extreme approach, and it's truly cold hard cash, whereas Americans, a little bit of blend of both.
Yeah, I mean, it is the funny part to me is that they added the opportunity to earn with two things. Like let's take a look at their official site, how you are supposed to be able to earn things. You're supposed to be able to earn with Delta and Delta partner flights, where you get 1 mile per dollar spent, which I think it was 18,000 or 20,000 they had last year. I think it was 18,000 they had to get Delta Diamond Medallion. And so that remains the same, but they're obviously requiring almost double the spend. So that's one thing. And then you have your American Express card, where you get, if you have the most expensive card, the one that costs $550 a year, which is also the one that gives you membership to the Sky Club, but not really. That card, you get one MQD per $10 spent. So you can't technically, if you put a lot of spend on a credit card, you could put $350,000 on one of these cards, and which is 20 years of minimum wage. So it's a substantial amount of money for normal people. You can do that. That's another avenue. Then they have the Delta car rentals, which is one MQD per dollar spent there too. While American has more of a different approach. When you rent a car or you stay at a hotel, you don't kind of get, it varies how much. Some hotels gives incentives. So if, like booking.com, there are some hotels that pop up higher up on the list on a third-party site, which is Delta's using a third-party site, I'm sure as well, or they are, same as American has been doing. But I could see a hotel that costs $200 with on the American Airlines hotel portal that gives me 3,000 points per night, and I can see one that gives me like 4,000 points a night. It varies because the hotels can opt in to do more loyalty points than others. So it's a little bit different. We haven't seen the portal yet, so it's hard to say how it'll be, but obviously there. Then you've got, vacation rentals, Delta Stays. I guess they're making a new portal. I don't know, but maybe it's probably linked to somebody else, of course. And then Delta Vacations is the last avenue, which is the same 1 miles per dollar spent. So that you have more chances to do it. But the difference here is if you are a hardcore flyer, meaning that you travel for work every week, right? If you travel for work every week and you're a road warrior that puts, say, $25,000 down on Delta, right? You're not considered to be good enough for top tier. And if we're looking at the list we're talking about here, if you're a road warrior, you have a corporate credit card, right? If you're most likely a corporate credit card. If you are a road warrior and also a corporate guy, you're required to book your rentals through maybe Concur or the portals that you have. Every consultant has to do the same with hotel stays. You get status and you get things from you can't book through Delta's or American's portal, when you are a road warrior. So I would say those are excluded. And even if you are a consultant and if you are the guy who is in front of the plane, I mean, let's face it, these credit cards, they are like the shittiest earning that you can get. So it's a lot. It's putting $350,000 on one of these cards if you have that kind of spend. And no consultant, a regular dude, does that. If you put a plane ticket on these, you literally are losing out of 5 miles per dollar spent. If you're putting travel on it, you're losing 4 miles per dollar spent. If you're doing restaurants, you're losing 4 miles per dollar, or you're not losing that, but that's what you could get. Versus the 1 and 2 and 3 multipliers that one of these cards will give you.
Nope, I'm with you. I think it's. As I said, Americans got a lot of
that's the extreme thing here, right? That's why it's extreme. It's because they are saying to somebody that spends $30,000 on an airline that's not good enough for top tier.
Right.
And that's crazy in my mind because they are, and also, I'm not really over on the Reddit that often. I poke in there every once in a while. I haven't had time because, as you know, I've been 5 weeks on the road.
Right.
But I bet, is it hard? Are there people out there that manufactures $350,000 worth of spend?
Sure. I mean,
absolutely. I would say absolutely. So Delta has made it more easy. They've opened the door. I mean, I'm not going to mention any names, but it's like, well, they're doing these changes to get the real hardcore premium customers. But that's not really what they're doing here. You can have, like I see in the American Airlines Platinum, Executive Platinum groups, there are dudes in Texas there's a guy who owns a construction company. He buys lumber for $200,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So he puts that money on the credit card. He's never been Executive Platinum before in his life.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's Executive Platinum. He only flies 5 states. He goes down to Cabo. He goes to, to visit his lumber or his wood supplier up in Wisconsin or whatever the hell it comes from. And he makes executive platinum by just spending 250, or is it 200,000 on the card? Is that what you're required?
200,000, yeah.
Yeah.
Non-bonus, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that that it's a different customer. I think it's a mistake to exclude the Road Warrior, and that's why they're walking this back. And they're not really walking it back; they're dialing it down. And they didn't go too far; they just went too fast to go this far.
You know, Gary wrote an article. Gary left. I think he put it up there maybe an hour or two ago, right? He said the writing is on the wall. These are the changes, right? They will come one way or another. And I think it was Ed Bastian said they ripped the Band-Aid off too far. So even if they walk it back, right, we know what the final solution is, and it's this. So whether it comes in 2 months,
I don't know if I agree with that, because I think that the American Airlines, what they tried to duplicate to an extent here, minus the requirement. I think that solution is much better because it leaves the door open for true road warriors, and it also makes it gives it an opportunity for ways to earn in other ways as well. So it'll give you different types of customers, which really isn't so bad when you see how travel patterns for people have changed in the last year or two.
Right.
But anyways, they're walking it back. Bastian went to, and I think that that's cool for both you and I who are Rotarians. He went to a Rotary Club event, is where he dropped the bomb on this thing. So he was at a Wednesday meeting like you and I were yesterday in separate areas of the country of the Rotary Clubs.
All I got to say is I got to up my game with speakers. I haven't had anybody of that caliber, so I'm a little embarrassed. But hey, I'm working on it.
Right, and I think that, you know, what the thing we haven't talked about here, because it's like less relevant for you and me, and probably less relevant for most people, especially top tiers, because when you have Diamond with Delta, you get a free membership to the club, right? So
as one of the choice.
Well, you got more choices as you go up the ladder, but that's obviously one of the things that people choose. But I think that having a credit card from them, if you pay $550 a month for a Sky Club credit card that has that as the benefit, getting 10 access per year, I don't even know what to say. I mean,
yeah, I mean, my opinion is I'd rather just have a platinum card where I'm getting essentially 5 times the Delta miles right there. Plus I'd have Sky Club access, which is going to be restricted anyway. I don't see a reason to keep a Delta.
Yeah, you can't spend $75,000 on their card. So which is the same that you can to get access to get a guest at the Centurion Lounge, right? So no, I like I said, I don't think, I don't think they went to see it's Angus who took the photo for the Wall Street Journal. That's kind of cool. He's the executive platinum flyer. So I think that I think that you'll see it go up, but I don't think, to be honest with you, I think that they're gonna rethink how they're doing the $35K worth of spend. I feel like, when somebody's if somebody doesn't have the opportunity to spend on a credit card, they don't have they have worked for a big corporation that spends millions of dollars with Delta. They're not allowed to book hotel rooms. They're not allowed to book rent-a-cars in order to earn. Those customers are super important, and there are a lot less of those customers right now. More and more are coming back, but there's still a lot less than it was before COVID, right?
Right.
All right. So Marriott is launching a new brand called 4 Points Express, which is
lipstick on a pig. That's all I got to say.
No, lipstick on a pig. It's like 4 Points is supposed to be the cheap version of Sheraton. And 4 Points Express is a mid-scale brand. What does that mean?
I couldn't even tell you. I saw Ben Schlopik wrote something that I guess he found some internal website where they're saying this is just a easy conversion from other brands. It's lipstick on a pig. That's what it is.
Well, I don't know what that means. What do you mean lipstick on a pig?
I guess, just probably other underperforming brands. I don't know what hotels they intend on converting. I don't know, maybe some Wyndhams, maybe I really don't know.
There's some new ones here, right? Yeah. They're opening new stuff here.
There are some new ones. But I
Right.
think this was primarily put out there as at least the way Ben wrote it, was a conversion concept where other brands could take, maybe their underperforming properties and convert it to Marriott at a lower standard, right? Something that doesn't have to be a true Marriott or a Westin or something like that. They could convert it at a much cheaper price and sort of be part of the brand. That's where I sort of,
and it says that it's only in Europe.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, I thought it was a global. I didn't realize it's all over the place.
It says in rolling out a new mid-scale brand, 4 Points Express by Sheraton in its EMEA region. I don't know if that's where it seems like they're opening the doors in Turkey. They've opening the doors in Houston railway station in the. So there are a lot of cheap hotels in that segment in Europe, much cheaper than this here. So it's like a Motel 6, if you will. Do we feel like that's something that we would like to call it?
It's probably a step up from that, but
right.
Well,
I say so. You have Accor hotels is huge in this segment in Europe, right? Mm-hmm. They have Ibis, which is the standard Ibis hotel. It doesn't include breakfast, but it's fair enough. I mean, it's not like it's like kind of like here, but a little bit more upscale than that.
Right.
Then you have Ibis Budget, which I stayed at the first one. I sent you the picture of the door that was broken into, right?
What was
and
this?
Then you have Ibis Styles, which includes breakfast, which the other one doesn't. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. This is how much I paid for an Ibis Budget for one night. Design room equipped with a double bed, a cozy comforter, spacious shower, and toilet. Enjoy a flat screen TV with lots of channels, multimedia connections, and Wi-Fi. €43, so $46.
Wow.
So that's the segment that they want to compete in. That's an Ibis Budget, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know how, it says for the value conscious consumers, a seamless hotel experience, right? This was in a tiny town, and the review is coming out on our channel pretty soon. I just uploaded 36 hotel reviews from the last month and a half, so it'll be coming pretty soon to a place near you, right? I think there's a lot of competition in Europe. They have the Formula One that's even cheaper than Ibis Styles, and they have thousands of these hotels everywhere. So it'll be interesting to see. Quick shot. Virgin Atlantic is giving 25% off redemption for all destinations and all cabins. That's a big deal because the business stuff from here, that means that you can fly to Europe in business class for how much is that? We're talking 40,000 miles or 35,000. How much is it usually, depending on which coast it is? But that's maybe here we go. So 15,000 for a round trip for economy class. Business class, I think a premium economy is about the same from the West Coast. So that would be that you pay 30,000 round trip for that. So it's definitely and super easy to transfer from both American Express and Capital One and Chase over here. So there can be some good deals to be had there. Just being mindful of the fuel surcharges, which are astronomical.
Right.
All right. I want to chat a little bit about, before we go there, let's go over to the Frequent Traveler Awards, which is our own award ceremony, our own awards, where 1.43 million frequent flyers voted again this year. And we had the winners were announced last week at the Frequent Traveler Awards in London. And I'm going to just quickly go through the winners and find we've had a lot of comments on this coming from various heads of programs and friends of ours around the industry in the last few days. My inbox is apologies, not that I'm not sure that you won't be watching this particular channel, hopefully, but we'll get back to you soon. Here are the awards we did are all voted on from frequent flyers. This is our own database, which includes a ton of people. It includes people who airlines that promote this, or airlines, hotels, car rental companies, and cruise companies that promote us for us via social media or emails. And then, of course, we had our partnership with the Wall Street Journal that marketed us as well. So, Best Elite Member Benefits, there are 36 awards, public awards. SAS Eurobonus, Delta Sky Miles, and KrisFlyer, Singapore Airlines. Not sure that's not what I voted for. What would you vote as the Best Elite member benefits?
Well, the only thing I noticed there is I think American held that spot for quite a few years. Like what?
They did. This is the first
years?
time that Delta has actually won. They made a couple of moves. They made a conscious move to market the events, the awards this year. And I also think that the Wall Street Journal has a lot of subscribers in New York, where Delta was big.
Sure.
Do you think they'll get it next year?
Let's just say.
We'll see. Best customer service. We got a lot to go through, so I'm going to go run through it really quickly. TAP Air Portugal has been a solid winner in Europe. Latam Pass in South America, where our friend Marty St. George used to work for Norwegian and JetBlue back in the days. Is now one of the bosses down there, doing good things. And Christian who's the CEO of Latam Pass, is a good guy. Club Vistara in India are doing really well. Do you know anything about the Vistara Airlines?
Nope.
I looked it up. They got 60 planes. They do have flights. They have international flights on 787s. And it's owned by Tata, the international conglomerate that owns, big telecommunications company, and also owns Range Rover, Land Rover in the UK. So they're interesting people. Let's see. Earning and redemption abilities, Delta. Wow, that is redemption ability. Well, you can redeem, but it'll cost you. Emirates Skywards, best credit card. Southwest is the winner, as also for me being the president of Freddy's for over 8 years. It was always a winner, and I think they're still winning the Freddy's. So it's a very popular credit card. They also do really well. What else? They won that. JAL went with their Platinum American Express. TAP in Europe, program of the year was Latam Pass. Air Portugal, TAP Air Portugal's miles to go, and Club Vistara again. For the hotel front, it was kind of a little bit interesting. The World of Hyatt won everything in Asia Pacific. They won all of them, even including program of the year. They did really, really well. And, they have a footprint, but what do you think of that?
Yeah, that doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if they just marketed heavily there. I know Hyatt's opened up a number of new hotels in that region, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Accor is surprised. They got program of the year in EMEA, and they also won best elite member benefits in EMEA. Hilton did very strong, and they also did strong in the Americas, where they won best customer service, which is great. Marriott Bonvoy, a little surprising, but they have a solid base in the U.S., and they've got customers that are diehard customers. And you're one of them, right? You're a diehard fan of Bonvoy, right?
If I have a choice, it's Hyatt. Marriott's really just the backup, just a catch-all where there's no property. So if all else being equal, it's Hyatt. But where there's nothing, or where the rates are high, I'll go with Marriott.
Right. And Nordic Choice Club, which is Strawberry Hotels, again won with their MasterCards in EMEA. It really is one of very few cards. The card markets outside of the U.S. is not as powerful as it is here, and much more or less so than here. The Brilliant card from American Express. Do you have that card?
I do. That's the one that gets platinum now, right? I think so.
Correct.
Yep.
I do not have that. But also they won with their the premium card from American Express. I took a look at that card because I hadn't heard of it, and I took a look at it. Actually, a pretty decent offering in Japan as well. And then program of the year for the hotel, Accor in Europe, Hilton in the Americas, and World of Hyatt in Asia Pacific. And for the rent-a-car guys, best elite membership, and we have, because there are much less global programs, much less loyalty programs in there are, about 75 globally nominated hotel programs and over 250 airline loyalty programs. But for rent-a-cars, there are very, very very less of those. And so it's a global award. And 6 elite member benefits, I think that's actually what I would have voted for. And that has to do with their diamond membership. They have lounges at the airports in Europe. Like in Paris, for example, I rented a car in Paris. And while there was a big line at the main place, there was a diamond lounge. You walk inside, there's an espresso machine. They got a fridge, and they got some snacks and stuff. And you sit down there, and you just hand them their stuff. And you sit down in a little area, and it was just me there. Well, the line outside was huge. And I think that's a decent benefit. But they obviously don't have a program that you cannot earn your own stuff, right? So... all right, wow, there's a lot of comments here. I did not see that. Sorry, guys. Ibis budget is under Ibis. Yes, they are under Ibis. Hopefully I didn't make that clear. So Ibis budget is like a cheap ferry cabin. Stay tuned for this channel on YouTube to see my review for that. It was crazy, and it ended up being kind of cool, to be honest with you. Hey, Marshall's here. Marshall, I'm going to send you a link. You got to join us, for crying out loud. Hang on for a sec. You've had too much break of let's see here. How do I do that? Should we let Marshall in?
You're bringing back all the old timers now.
Yeah, no kidding. I haven't done that. So I looked at the last one we had was in the beginning of I just sent him a link. We'll see if he's doing his stuff. Yes, 6 diamond is by invitation only, which is true, but kind of not. If you are on circle with Lufthansa, you get an invitation so the top tier of Lufthansa gets 6 diamond. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm not on Circle and I never, ever will be. But I was invited by the family because we do business with them, and we have a close relationship to help us out with the Megadoos and other things. And I love those guys. It's a cool company, but it's a pain in the butt to rent for them in the US. In Europe, you have to stop by. At the counter anyways. You can't just walk up to your car like you can here. And 6 requires you in the US. So I rarely rent from 6 here. And then best innovation had to do with the electric cars and that kind of stuff, even though IT that Hertz has is obviously the worst. But and it was preferred program of the year for cruise, MSC, Voyager Club, which is you can match to their top level, right?
Not sure.
You don't know. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I actually have not. Fun fact.
Wow, they got Disney cruises, I know you're a big Disney fan.
I am.
All right, but we will invite the next year's voting starts beginning of May, and we are having on September 12th. Jamie and I are going to be in Chicago for the award ceremony, and somebody on this channel are going to get an invitation, so that's going to be fun. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Hyatt getting into the Airbnb market again. I saw today. Didn't they do that before?
I just saw that, and I didn't see the details on it.
Homes and Hideaways by Hyatt. Unique collection of short-term private home rentals, giving even more meaningful ways for a World of Hyatt members to unlock flexible traveler experiences. I thought they just did that like a few years ago. Am I wrong, or am I senile?
I know Marriott did, and to be honest, I've never really looked at it. I don't know if it's a viable solution or alternative to hotels.
I looked at Marriott to use it because every once in a while we go out the coast here where it makes more sense. But the problem with Marriott was the crazy fees that they have. There was like a cleaning fee, like $300 or something like that made enough fees. I haven't looked into it, but good to know, right?
Right.
All right, we're going to take a look at the changes coming to the Admirals Club in over the New Year's in beginning of 24. Did you read about this?
Changes to the Admirals Club.
They are improving their catering.
Oh, yeah, this was announced a few weeks ago.
Pardon?
This was announced a few weeks ago.
It was. I had no idea. It was on Gary's blog today. Oh, actually, July 10th. Wow, how did I miss that?
I was going to say, this is kind of old news, but no, it's good.
Oh, yeah, let's skip it then. Forget about that. Okay. All right, so David Neeleman from Breeze, CEO, the guy who started JetBlue, who started Azul in South America. He called sustainable aviation fuel a waste of money. And he also said, this is just greenwashing. It really is. It's nonsense, and I think somebody needs to say it for what it is. Sustainable fuel. So to an extent, I think he's right?
To be honest, I don't know the economics of it. I don't know the.
Well, so our conference, we own a loyalty conference, the biggest loyalty conference, you know, with the biggest most experienced and senior level loyalty guys in the world, in the travel world, called the Loyalty Summit. And we had I don't know if you remember in DC, we had a panel about that. And our friend who is the head of marketing for SkyTeam, good night from Norway. I don't know who it is. I can only see Facebook user here. So good night from Norway. And I hope you enjoyed the SAS salad lounges over there. But we had Mauro Retti, who's a friend of ours. He had a panel with the head of sustainability for United Airlines. And I think that, you know, it's easy to get an electric car. Oh, there he is. There is the big guy from Ipanema. Hey there, Pilgrim.
Howdy.
I feel like I owe you a hug or something. I haven't seen you in so long. Let's gay it up.
Yeah, that's right.
Are there any cats around?
Oh, Sonny will walk over in a little bit.
Beautiful.
Sure.
How you been?
Super.
Beautiful.
Been busy.
Yeah, I mean, government work. I mean, you got that human dynamo that runs your department there. He is quite the guy. One day he's in Texarkana, and the other day he's in the Lulu.
Yeah, I hear he gets around.
Yeah. Is he reined in his little private jet user, or how does that work?
I don't know. Can't talk about that. Don't know.
You don't even know. That's the answer.
No comment.
Yeah, so we were, so yes. So we were talking about greenwashing here, that Neeleman today and his big mouth. And you know Neeleman, he's a smart guy, right? We like Neeleman. And he said today at Skift Forum in New York, he said that sustainable aviation fuel is just greenwashing. It really is. It's nonsense, and I think somebody needs to say it is for what it is. How do we feel about that?
Well, I heard you guys talking about it, and much like Jamie, I don't know the economics of it.
Well, but, so it is, you know what it is, right? It's literally fryer oil or whatever it's called, like stuff that comes out of the McDonald's where you put the fries in there, right? And it's mixed together, so it's sustainable. But there's still emissions. It's just that it's sustainable in the sense. Can you say that it's sustainable? Yes. But right now, there is no way to propel a 200-ton 777 off the face of the planet without using gasoline or kerosene. So while we wait, I think it's not a bad idea to,
Well, I feel the same way, I guess, about that I do about wind or any other kind of, we need to be researching and making it better and looking into ways to make it better. So
Right.
in that regard, I'm happy somebody's pursuing it, and we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, I think that so we've seen how what Boeing is doing is capturing emissions, right? They're going to capture it. That's what their approach, and Airbus is all in on hydrogen, right? Which propels the space shuttle and rockets and all that kind of stuff right now. The problem with hydrogen that people are like, oh, it's just water. Well, it really isn't, because in order to make hydrogen, you need to use natural gas or electricity and a crapload of it. So if the energy comes from natural gas to create hydrogen, then then my car right now in the garage, because of my solar
Sure.
panels, is cleaner than that, much cleaner than that. So it doesn't solve anything. So I know that they are working on that, and hydrogen will be clean. I mean, Bill Gates and his, I don't want to, this is not why we're talking about this, but I think that the airlines are working on it. They've got full departments. They've got Southwest has a lady that's working on the stuff. She couldn't make it to DC. The lady from United, that's the head of sustainability. She was there, the VP of sustainability, great lady, great minds, and they're working on a lot of stuff. But like you said, they got to be working on it. But
yeah.
So looking at how he was on stage having a discussion, not sure who he was talking to, who was interviewing him. But, they've had some snags because they wanted to expand more, and they were not able to because they don't have pilots and other logistical problems. So they apparently got a bunch of pilots from Australia. That you didn't know.
Oh, I did.
Because an hour and 15 minutes ago, I didn't know. He was, so, they fly to like all of these weird ass places like Springfield, Illinois, or like, places you don't want to go to, which is great. I mean, there is a market for it. And, for those markets, instead of, stopping in Chicago or in DC or whatever, right? There is a market for it. I think he's on to something because, Allegiant is also doing that. We're going to talk about Allegiant next. So he's going to start flying to Mexico. That's the newest thing. And he is saying that, the fares are a little bit too low, and that they are struggling to grow because they don't have enough pilots. Because, the big guys are writing the big checks for their pilots, or they'll go on strike, right?
Boy, they sure are.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you could have made, I saw that $550 a year is the new American Airlines pay if you've been there for 18 years.
Yeah, wide body pay, I guess so. Too bad I don't have a medical anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad for me too, because then I'll go on your buddy pass. All right, let's move over to let's talk about Allegiant. So Allegiant is making money. They don't have much of a loyalty program. They got a credit card, so they don't have that big income. The American, United, and Delta, neither one of them are making money flying planes right now. Is that a fact, or is that outdated information?
That's above my pay grade.
No,
I'm 100% sure that American is not making money flying planes for sure.
I believe Allegiant just switched out their CEO. Was it today? Was it yesterday?
Allegiant?
I am 99% sure the current CEO resigned.
Maybe. But looking at so far this year, they have made, so in the last quarter, they made $116 million out of a revenue of $683 million. That is cash money that's a good operation. And they don't have the lead to, it looks like the old guy is coming back again. So
I'm just reading that now. Yeah, absolutely.
I had no idea. He's so the guy who's the CEO is I don't have the subscription for Aviation Week, but it looks like he went back. The old guy, the chairman, is now back to being the CEO again. They just switched roles, and the succeeding Gallagher, who became the executive chairman of the board. So they're just moving around things a little bit, which is interesting. But anyways, they're making money. I mean, that's the profit margin. The revenue is not very high, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're growing and they're making a solid profit, and I think that's interesting. Without a loyalty program. And Midway Airport in Chicago. Anybody been there?
A long time ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I've coined this lounge. So obviously it's by far the biggest carrier there is Southwest, right?
Sure.
And I call it the Love Shack. That's the name of the lounge. I'm coining
We're
that.
Go
right
with
now.
that. Let's
it'll
get
be
that
a club,
trending on Twitter.
It'll be the club, Priority, owned by the Priority Pass company, Airport Dimensions, who owns them. So that means that you'll have serious hooch. There'll be some nice hooch and good hooch and stuff, but beats the hell out of waiting in the terminal, right?
No doubt.
Melinda and I transferred through there, going somewhere. I don't remember. It was last year sometime, and we were there, and we ate in that food court, and it was super expensive. So this is welcome for sure. And Scandinavian Airlines. This is cool. This guy is the CEO. His name is Anko van der Verft. He is a Dutch guy. He was down in Avianca, turned that company around, and he's now in SAS to try and turn them around. And this is in Norwegian, but because they're in Chapter 11, they give you financial results at the end of each month, and they were able to lose about $50 million or more, $55 million, 638 million Swedish kroners, or $58 million US in August. Who loses money in August? That is
I do not know. That's actually hard to do.
That is, maybe they had some like one-time bankruptcy expenses we didn't know about, because you don't get. Yeah, but it's, if you can't make money in August, then it's going to be a lean winter.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, and speaking of, I saw Lucky. Lucky is a little bit of a interesting thing, but he does write some interesting articles every once in a while, and the demand that we're seeing for specifically domestic travel, and also to Europe, and to an extent, it hasn't been softening. We talked about this, Marshall, like earlier this year. We were predicting that it would slow down in the fall, and business travel haven't returned, and hasn't returned yet, right? But what we're seeing now, the summer is over. That means that the winter, this is when we separate the men from the boys, and the allegiance from the Americans, and I think that fuel is up quite a bit, right? It's $91 today, and so it obviously has an impact. But Frontier and Spirit are anticipating losses in the third quarter. And it's historically a pretty good quarter for leisure demand, as it includes July and August. I imagine it's only going to get worse in the fourth quarter. No, it doesn't. The third quarter doesn't include July and August, does it? It includes. So hang on for a sec. Yeah, it does. July, August, September. So it does. So it's the same thing as with SAS. They're going to have losses. I thought we 10, 15 seconds ago, we said it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that at the end of the day, what we've seen, but I think that, so over the summer, ultra low cost carriers underperformed because of so much of the demand was centered around Europe. And now
Sure.
it's this time of year where demand is less focused on long haul travel, they're still struggling. So I think that in the US, sure, but Ryanair had a blast of a summer. And Norwegian had a blast of a summer. Like Norwegian was knocking it out of the park with the number of passengers. They're back with a vengeance after discontinuing long haul. They did a yeah. So what he's saying, you can't fully make sense of what's happening with demand. I kind of agree with that. I think that the era has changed. Do we think that? Business travel will come back in this fall and over the winter and into the summer?
We'll have to see. I mean, I feel like business travel is slowly coming back, and just anecdotally, the upgrade lists seem longer to me.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a sign that there's business travel for sure.
Exactly. That's not grandma, flying somewhere. So we will see how things turn out. I can tell you this, and as you know, I was headed to Europe. That ultimately didn't happen early September. So I had to cancel the trip, and we're going in November to Paris instead of Rome for different reasons. But so I paid less for United Premium Plus in November than I did for Coach in early September. And I mean row 50 Coach. So we'll see how things go.
Yeah, it's I do DC Boston a lot. The not only the upgrades list, and I've fallen even as an EP. I'm 10, 12 on some of these lists, but I mean it's filled. I mean there's first is bought out, all the good seats are bought out. I mean clearly there's something going on, and I sort of trust DC Boston, New York Boston as a or DC New York as a business route. Something's happening.
Yep.
I agree with that for sure. I think that also I looked in Europe. I took a ton of flights in Europe the last 5 weeks when I was there, back and forth to Europe. I flew business over, and everything was packed. The front of the plane was packed all over the place. I mean, from Heathrow to Venice, which is obviously a beach market like nobody's business. I was probably the only one that was on business on that flight. Had 13 rows all the way on BA back to the emergency exits on an Airbus 320 was Club Europe. And Melinda and I flew from, we had more flights. Melinda flew from Heathrow to Oslo, and it was the same thing. From Heathrow to Copenhagen on BA, same thing. It was like 10 rows of business class. So obviously somebody's paying more money for things for sure. And we were going to talk a little bit about BA and the strategy for earning BA and stuff like that today. We're going to table that for next week because it's getting late in the hour here. So we've yapped enough today. But I think it's anyone's guess of what's going to happen with demand for the winter. If I were to give a calculated guess, and I agree with what Lucky's saying, that it's really, really hard to make sense of what's happening right now. That you have low-cost carriers that are losing money over the summer, that seems crazy to me. And I haven't dived into the numbers for sure. And we were talking about SAS losing money. Now it makes more sense, but it doesn't make sense that the peers in Europe, like EasyJet and Ryanair and Norwegian, none of them lost money. They made bank over the summer. And they have to in order to get through the winter. So it'll be interesting to see. But we didn't get to talk about Delta at all with you, Marshall. Do you want to?
I know. Yeah, we should probably table that for next week. But I put a little thing on Twitter that just said that when all the bullshit and bluster dies down, that I think Delta will be just as well off or better than they are financially. I get what they're doing, and not to take too much time, I think this is where they were headed all along.
What does that mean? Explain that to me. What do you mean there? Why that? Explain how you think that is.
I think I think they were headed to dollars only all along. I think they believe that what they've done is a kind of like loyalty points. And I heard part of your guys' conversation. And it is in a way. It's just that loyalty points is easier to obtain status with, I think, than what Delta set up. So they're going to back off of it some, I suppose, and just based on what came out in the press today. But I think based on the CEO's comments, they're just kind of putting things off a little longer than they originally envisioned. Whether they got that, one more thing though, and whether they got the dollar amounts right or not is subject to debate. Whether they got the ability to earn MQDs in other ways right is subject to debate, and we'll see. I don't know, and I know you talked about this too. I think that's kind of crazy that to limit Sky Club visits on the $550 reserve card.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do that. That's one of the things that I think that I would have done it a little bit differently. I would have just nuked the access to the club for the Diamond members. That's what I would have done, because that's par for the course. That is something that no other airline offers, right, in America. So
remove it as a choice benefit. And
absolutely limit that access and take it away, because that's going to take away for those who don't value that. Not everybody has, tiny egos and the need to sit and eat peanuts in a specific room at an airport.
Hey, don't be judging me.
Well, we're there for the hooch. That's different. But anyway, so I get that. I get that. So they've been they've walked out, painted themselves in a corner. It's their own fault that the clubs are full, because they've been too successful selling credit cards. That deal with American Express to get them out of bankruptcy, and that gave access to anybody. I was like, I fly Delta. I show my card and I go in there. I was like, how is this even possible?
Right.
It has been for forever. It's been too good of a benefit. So I get that. I absolutely get that they need to do that. Personally, I have only been like a couple of times to the Sky Club when it's been busy. It's Salt Lake City. It's fine. You
have to pick your clubs.
Yeah, LA also the new one. LA, the new club in LA is actually really, really nice, and it was not busy at all.
Yep.
And I hear what they're doing. I completely get it. I think that that's completely fine. What I don't understand is that by doubling the requirements of how you get your top tier status is kind of, getting the numbers for gold and platinum and all that other stuff is still attainable for anybody, and you have more ways to do it. What I don't understand is that if I was a business traveler and I had to use Concur, like I was back in the day, if I was a business traveler and I had to use Concur, it means that I can't book hotel rooms through Delta's portal, and I can't rent cars through Delta's portal, and I have a credit card, but I make, I have a net of $10,000 a month that comes into my account. Then I got to pay my mortgage. I got to pay my car. I got to pay all my other stuff. So I put maybe $3,000, if that, on a credit card in a month, right? Sure. And the stuff that I pay for my business, it goes on my business Amex that my employer pays for. So that means that there is no way for a road warrior that spends $30,000 on plane tickets on Delta to get to 35, right? You know what I mean? And I think that's the crazy thing, that the guy we talked about earlier, there's a guy who's in the executive platinum group. There's more than one guy that are in there now. Hey, I run a construction company in Dallas, and I buy lumber for $200,000 a month, right? I put it on the card, and after a month, I'm executive platinum. I flew 5 flights on American last year. That guy, from one transaction, is more valuable than a guy spending $30,000 to sit on a plane and fly and fill up the cabin. That, to me, is the problem I have with this. Nothing else.
Hey, I hear you.
But
We'll see how things pan out.
we will. And I think, Gary was out there today, and I hear what you're saying as well. We're going to have to see. Nobody knows. And I know for a fact that those guys in Atlanta, because I've been communicating with a couple of people I know down there this week, they don't know either. So, because I think that they didn't expect their management to come down and say, hey, my email account has 2,500 emails an hour, and my text messages and my front lawn of my house is filled with angry Delta diamonds. So they have to walk it back. I don't think they saw that coming, but I think they will. This is a Band-Aid. They should have done it slower for sure. But I think they were going to make tweaks to it. American made tweaks to it. Remember, after the first year, they saw that the earning for gold was too low. So they just adjusted it a little bit. Same with I don't remember. They made some small adjustments, not to EP, but to everything else. They made, or to EP and Platinum Plus, they didn't change it, but to Platinum and to Gold, I think they did. And with that in mind, I think that there will be changes along the way that will reward flying, because this doesn't make it more exclusive. This means that everybody that's on frequentmiler.com that knows how to MS can now laugh all the way to the bank. Like, for example, Greg himself, he went down and got the finger from Richard Branson. He manufactured spent his way to 1 million Virgin points to get to Necker Island, and ran into Richard Branson, and he told him who it was. And on Twitter, he's standing next to Branson that gives him the finger. Right? That's amazing. So that's possible. If you go to Reddit now, I bet you that there are people who are spending their way to Delta.
Oh, somebody's figured that out already. Trust me.
And it's wide open now. There's not a single flight requirement. You don't have to fly a single flight on Delta to get Diamond. And of course, that's the thing, though. A perfect airline customer is a guy that earns top tier status and spends money on a credit card, but doesn't fly that much, because then it's not much cost to you to bring him into the club lounge and give him the security and give him this and give him that and free this and free that. I can sell that first class seat instead of upgrading this guy. So that's a perfect Delta customer. So I don't know. It's very hard to say. I think they've opened a can of worm where they don't know what the end of the tunnel is. I think American did beautifully. I love the way American did it. I think they perfectly did it. And I wouldn't be surprised if American says next year, hey, it's going to be 250,000 loyalty points now instead. I was just showing Jamie. Did you saw the screenshots? 9,600 loyalty points for a hotel by Lake Como. 3,400 for a hotel in France. It's like this. Yeah. It's money in a town where the towns we're staying in. There's no loyalty hotels. I don't get anything back from that. And these are for customers or employees or things like that we pay for. It's great. I'm making gold easily this year, and I'm halfway to platinum. So I don't know what to tell you. It's a beautiful thing, but that, you have to not forget that there's a reason we have airline loyalty programs, is to make sure that people get on the planes. But anyways, I think that should be enough for today.
Sounds good to me.
Good.
Good to see you.
Jamie, you haven't said anything in the last 20 minutes.
I'm agreeing.
You're agreeing. Oh, I just got a text from Michael Traeger. Yeah, don't forget that. We have the event of the year where FTU is going to be presenting up in Lake Tahoe. South Lake Tahoe, where we have the Zork Fest, where FTU is delivering the miles and points content down there. And can't wait to go up there. Gonna have dinner with Gary Leff and company, and we're gonna get shit-faced on Friday, I hope, and have a good time. Too bad you're not gonna be there, both of you, but that's okay. And but I'll be there, and Traeger will be there. And if you are an FTU member, remember you still have that $50 coupon. I think. Michael, are you on? Can they still use the coupon? I don't think he's on anymore. But hit me up if you can use, if the coupon doesn't work, just send me an email at tommy@ft.events and I'll get you a coupon. How does that sound? And hopefully up there, it's going to be a great weekend, a little bit more upscale than a normal FTU, a hell of a lot more than the frozen pizzas at the Chicago seminars, where Jamie's going to be presenting. At one, are there still 2 events?
There's one event for sure. I don't know about the other.
I will. Well, I gotta have to call Stefan. And we'll see you guys next week. And Marshall, do you mind if I give you a ring night now? Are you busy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you, boys and girls, and thanks everybody for dialing in. We had 27 idiots at the top of the peak here. Why? You got nothing else to do? Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.